The A1 rating puts the country on par with China and Slovakia. Let's put Korea's economy in perspective with the man responsible for charting some of the nation's policies, South Korea's Deputy Vice Finance Minister Hur Kyung Wook. Minister, good to have you with us on The Trade today. Moody's rating upgrade, obviously a reflection of growing confidence in Korea. Just how confident are you that Korea's economy is on a firm recovery track?
I think I'm very confident. This year we estimated we can grow around 5%. And most recently, BOK came up, divided up the economic forecast at 5.2%. Even though there's a lingering uncertainty, we are very confident that we can grow at 5% level.
What lingering uncertainties are you referring to? What's your biggest concern? What could derail the momentum of economic recovery?
Well, in terms of the policy risk, if we take exit policy in terms of the interest rate too hastily, there might be one policy risk. Another risk is more about the environment. Right now, the commodity prices are going up again. Particularly, we are very much dependent on the oil. At the same time, Korean won is now under pressure. If we appreciate it too fast, that will be another risk. And there are also, as I said, lingering uncertainties basically in the Europe and some other international market. Altogether, they are the risks for the Korean economy.
How about the job situation? The unemployment rate dropped the most in 10 years. Is the employment situation sustainable given that government aid programs will end in June?
I think it is sustainable. As you know, employment is a lagging indicator. So even though it's improving, still it's not satisfactory. But as the private sector-led economy is growing and more entrenched as the months go by, I think if we can create enough momentum to go even without the government jobs.
Then how do you read what we heard from the BOK Governor Kim? I mean, he says policy rate rises should be delayed until the labor market improves significantly. Is the latest employment data good enough to prompt a rate hike then?
I think at the end of the day, that's the decision by the central bank, more specifically Monetary Policy Committee. But as I said, the necessary condition for interest rate hike is when you are sure the private sector economic recovery is fully entrenched. And for that, job data is very much important. And as I said, even though it's still improving, it's not satisfactory. So you have to give it some more months to watch how fast it can catch up.
If you were to hazard a guess, when do you see a rate hike in Korea?
Well, I think it's not prudent for me to say, basically. As I said, that's the decision by central bank. But as I said, if they are sure the private sector economy growth, which can be easily measured by the job growth, as well as the inflation pressure, then they'll make a decision. And we do hope that they can make a decision very prudently.
Minister, talking about growth, South Korean exporters compete with their rivals in China. Would you like to see the yuan appreciate?
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, it's the China's decision. But we have we wear two hats. One as a head as a G20 chair country. So in that capacity, to the extent that China's yuan appreciation can help reduce the global imbalance, we welcome it. And as a second hat, we are the country that export like 24% of our exports goes to China. So in that capacity, if China's yuan appreciate, it all depends on the speed and the magnitude. But generally, I think it would be positive.
What impact do you see on the won if the yuan becomes stronger?
Well, the market seems to believe that if the yuan is under pressure and appreciated, then probably Korean won will also be under pressure. And probably what's happening in the Korean exchange market these days might reflect that kind of sentiment. But we are watching it very carefully because, number one, China's yuan has not appreciated yet, and number two, probably that kind of speculation we suspect might go excessively in one direction. And if we monitor very carefully, and if we believe that it's too excessive, then we'll take necessary measures as appropriate.
Minister, you said earlier that you expect economic growth for the year to come in at about 5%. Your projection is lower than the projection of the BOK, the central bank, which is 5.2%. Are you being a bit conservative? Are you likely to revise up your estimates?
You know, estimation is at the end of it's just a forecast. And if you change your forecast too frequently, then there's a credibility issue. So what we are trying to do is that in June, we'll have a plan to revise and come up with a second semester economic management plan. And that's the time, if necessary, we would like to revise our forecast. Until the June, we'll maintain the current forecast of 5%. At the end of the day, you cannot change your forecast every day.
What's the biggest risk for the South Korean economy at this point in time?
As I said, the policy risk is if we withdraw the stimulus too fast, that's the policy risk. Environmental risk is the pressure of the commodity prices, pressure on the Korean won, and lingering uncertainty in the international financial market.
Before we let you go, Minister, Korea is hosting the G20 meeting in November. Expectations are that member nations will mull over the imposition of taxes on banking activities. What's Korea's stand on that?
Well, we are the chair country, so we would like to be an honest broker to come up with a consensus rather than pushing our agenda. So, and this time, at the end of this month, there will be a big meeting in the IMF FC meeting in Washington, D.C. And I think from then on, we can have a more concrete discussion on this issue. We have our own view, but as a chairman, I think it's very, very crucial not to mix your own view with your duty to forge a consensus. So let's, for the time being, put more emphasis on the second duty.
All right. Hur Kyung Wook, South Korea's Vice Finance Minister, thank you so much for being on The Trade today.